I've always wanted to restore an old guitar, to soak up its history, make it playable again, and just enjoy the process. But vintage Fenders and Gibsons are way too expensive. And honestly, I'm still a beginner, so it feels risky to invest that kind of money in a project that might fail. Thankfully, there are plenty of old Japanese guitars from the 60s available second-hand at more reasonable prices. These guitars come with quirks, unusual pickups, unique designs, and histories tied to brands that no longer exist. And I found one of these guitars. So let's bring it back to life.
This guitar is a 510 Las Vegas, a model branded by Kent. Kent was a brand created by a New York distribution company in the 60s, but the guitars were actually made in Japan by other manufacturers like Guyoton and Teisco. Guyoton, one of Japan's oldest and most respected instrument makers, likely made this guitar. From what I found online in old catalogs, it seems this guitar was made between 1964 and 1965 by Guyoton. I can't be completely sure though, because according to other models I found online, it should have a serial number on the back of the headstock. This one does not. It was likely removed, maybe when the headstock was repainted.
Overall, the guitar is in pretty good shape. The paint is worn with age, but I plan to repaint it. I will get to that later. And I have other repairs to do. The bridge pickups works fine, and the parts are sometimes functional, but the neck pickup doesn't work. I'm not sure if the issue is with the pickup itself or if there is a loose connection in the switch. I did hear some sound at one point, so it might be the switch. Also, nearly every metal part is rusted, so everything needs a good cleaning. Finally, the neck is done straight and the frets are completely worn down. I will need to remove and replace all the frets. So, why take on this project? Why go through all the trouble of restoring an old guitar? Partly because I think it's awesome to bring back to life an old guitar, but mostly it's a chance for me to experiment and learn new skills. For example, this will be my first time to remove all the frets of a guitar and my first attempt to refret the neck with a binding. First off, I want to apologize. It's been a year since my last video, but there is a good reason for that. I have recently become dad to a little boy and started a new job, and then no new job. So back to freelance, and on top of that we have also started a new project, converting new van for our family of 3 for this summer. So I had very little time. To be honest, I haven't played or worked on a guitar this year. This project on this video is something I started last summer in 2024 and I finished it late September in 2024. Since then, the video has been on hold. I also want to give a big thank you to Nitorlack, who supported this video. I promised them to release this video in the fall of 2024, but things got a little more complicated. So thank you for your patience and enjoy the video.
Step 1. Stripping all the paints. I know it might seem sacrilegious to some, but I've never liked sunburst finishes. And since part of this guitar seems to have been repainted a bit sloppily, I wanted to redo it in a cleaner way that's more to my taste. But at the same time, I love the worn look of this guitar. These are real, genuine marks of its history, not the fake relic look that is so common nowadays and that I don't like. And also, I really don't like sunbursts.
So I plan to repaint it, but with a nitro finish, to enable me to recreate the original scuffs and dents as closely as possible. So in other words, do a relic. That's right, I'm taking off the original paint, only to recreate a relic look of what I just removed. I've never done a relic finish before, so it's a learning experience. Let's just call it experimentation, okay? And yeah, I know I'm contradicting myself here, and you might judge me for it, but we humans are full of contradiction, right?
I spent a ton of time scraping off the old paint. While I was at it, I installed side dots on the neck. There weren't any before, which made it tough to play. So this will make the guitar much more playable. Next, I treated the maple neck with a honey-tinted oil from the hardware store, just to give the wood a warmer tone. Then I protected it with some wipe on poly. I did the same for the body, filling any large holes with wood filler.
Now it was time for painting. Like I mentioned, I choose nitro finish, which I don't usually do. Nitro is trickier to apply. Also, temperature and technique need to be really precise. But the results are worth it, I guess. You can find a ton of nitro painting tutorials on YouTube. Nitorlack generously sponsored this project, providing the paint, so big thank you to them.
After a few coats of white primer, I went with teal green metallic, which I think looks fantastic. I finished it with a high-gloss Nitorlack lacquer, which is also excellent quality. I'm really pleased with the result.
But nitro or not, you still have to go through the long and tedious process of sanding and polishing.
Again, Nitorlack supplied me with high-quality sandpaper that is super fine and doesn't clog up quickly, especially when wet sanding. The paper was so good, I didn't even need my sander. I did it all by hand. Finally, I polished the finish to a perfect shine. This lacquer isn't specially made for a relic finish, but all nitro paint can develop fine, subtle cracks with a bit of heat and cold exposure. I also recreated the original scuff marks from photos I took earlier, so the guitar still has that worn look. To avoid overdoing it and making the finish look fake, I kept the relic touches subtle. I'm happy with the result, which matches the original things pretty closely. Before reassembling, I soaked all the metal parts in white vinegar, even the tiny pickup screws. And I scrubbed off the rust with an old toothbrush. The results were decent, but I went further, polishing each piece with a Dremel for a deeper clean. Pushing experimentation further, I tried out semi-hemispherical frets. Instead of filing fret ends at an angle, I rounded them off, making the neck both more comfortable and less sharp. This takes longer since you shape each fret individually, measure, run, get the length just right, and finally set each one in place. They look good, but they're not perfect at all. They don't all line up perfectly along the edge as they would in a standard freight job. But hey, it's my first time. After that, I adjusted the neck and the nut as usual.
For the electronics, I tested the switch with multimeter and I found that a bit of contact cleaner was enough to get it working. I also took the chance of rewire everything and replace the pots, keeping the same values and the original capacitors.
Despite that, I still had an intermittent connection issue with the pickups. The original positive PVC wire, surrounded by ground, had degraded, causing the ground wire to touch the positive wire and cut out the sound. I desoldered and rewired the pickups directly from the copper wire, which was pretty nerve-wracking, but I took my time and it worked out. With everything reassembled, I was thrilled to find all the electronics and pickups working. The pickups are ultra vintage with very low output and plenty of noise. They pick up every touch and even the sound of the strap. But hey, it works!
I'm really happy with the result. It's a quirky guitar but with a unique sound. If you want to hear how it sounds, check out the demo video linked in the description. Again, sorry for the waiting. Having a newborn has made it harder to keep up. Big thanks to Nitorlack again. And now, let's check out the final results.